This video will help you understand your Desert Rose handpan. This is a G-sharp harmonic minor and it sounds stunning. This video is specifically for Anna, one of my lovely patrons, so if you want me to dive into the theory on your handpan, head over there. There's really great nerdy handpan chats happening all the time. Now this instrument is beautiful. We're not going to be talking about the ding scale, which is building off of G sharp, the ding. I'm going to head straight to talking about the overarching scale, which is C sharp harmonic minor. This doesn't quite feel like home, this one. But when we put this note underneath, it does. Right? And that's because the thing that makes this pan interesting happens when we look at it through C sharp minor. So let's start off by playing the notes up and down the scale. Let's look at the notes around the outside. G sharp, B sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. And you may have some extra notes underneath or on top, but this is easily enough to be working with. So instead of considering the ding as home, which we could, but instead we're going to call C sharp home. Once we've got our notes in alphabetical order, we can really hear the way it flows. That really does sound like home to me. So if we look at it through the lens of C sharp harmonic minor, it makes a lot of sense. So what we've done is take that 7th note and move it half a step upwards. Now, when we start to build our chords, this has some really interesting effects. Have a little listen to the chords that are possible if we start on C sharp minor. So chord 1 is going to be C sharp. We've got C sharp, we've got our E, we've got our G, and another C sharp. This makes chord 1 C sharp minor. Chord 2 is D sharp diminished. So we've got our D sharps, our F sharp, and A. And it's got that unsettled sound that all diminished chords have. Now the 3rd chord is where it gets super interesting. Instead of having E major, as we might expect, we get E augmented. This is maybe a new type of chord. If you've been following my harmony up until here, you might not have come across this one, but it's good. I promise it's good. We've got our E, our G sharp, but instead of the B that would make it major, we actually have even one higher, which makes it augmented. So that is a really interesting chord. It's not a sound that we hear very often in pop music. Prove me wrong. Let me know in the comments a song with an augmented chord. I'm sure they exist. But generally we're much more used to this slightly more cohesive. So that's a really interesting chord. And when you're playing with your Hijaz, it's important to lean on that sound a lot because it is so unusual. Next up, chord 4, we have F sharp minor. We've got F sharp, A, and C sharps. Our next chord, chord 5, is super interesting. Normally, chord 5 in a minor key, it's going to be a minor chord. But here we get to really play with it. It's the chord that's based off of G sharp, and we don't have a minor chord, we have a major chord, as you may be able to hear, which is super important to pull back to 1. So we have our G sharp, we've got our B sharps, and we've got our D sharps. We've got a few options for that. For our chord 5, G sharp major. Chord 6, a lovely major chord, A major. We've got our A, our C sharps, and our E, A major. And finally, chord 7, we don't have another lovely major chord, as we might expect. This is the chord that's based on that unstable note on our B sharp. So we've got B sharps, D sharp, and F sharp, which gives another diminished chord, B sharp diminished. Wobbly leads us back to C sharp. So hopefully this video shows you a little bit more of the tension and the release that you'll find on your Desert Rose. It's really fun to play around with those things that clash and the things that release the tension. It's useful to note that you may have seen it written, this note written as a B sharp, but if you look at a piano, you'll see that there's no black key above a B. So the next note can also be called C. So this is the same note, B sharp. If you make a B sharp, it becomes a C. These notes are enharmonic. They are written differently, but they sound exactly the same. So somebody might call it a C, somebody else might call it a B sharp. Get used to the fact that those notes are the exact same note. And I wanted to touch on the extensions. So if you have a B natural, you can really open out your sounds. So remembering that we have our B sharp on here, some handpans also have a B natural. And if you have both of those, then you can play in a really, really interesting way. Anytime you see B sharp, just rewrite your chord and slot in the B natural as an option. That means that you have a major and a minor chord 5, for example. You have your major, you can go to minor, back up to major, and then you go home. So it means that you can play your handpan, your harmonic minor, your Hijaz, in the style of a completely standard, normal, natural handpan, which is a really helpful thing, because it means that you can access that major sound with using notes underneath or above, which you can't if you rely on the traditional harmonic minor scale. So if you are able to get an extension on this instrument, I would suggest a B natural, if your maker is able to offer that to you. If you can have a B sharp and a B natural, you open up as many chords as a D chord or a sabai, but also access to a bunch more as well. It's a great way of enjoying that Hijaz sound, but being able to access all of the chords from a major scale or a happy scale as well. Because it sort of cancels out those augmented and those diminished chords. It gives you a lot more to play with. So that's my thoughts on the Desert Rose. It sounds stunning. I've focused in on its core scale, which is the C sharp harmonic minor. Of course, you're welcome to build chords focusing with G sharp as its home, because that's the ding scale. But in terms of a theory point of view, if we look at it from C sharp harmonic minor, then we really understand the capabilities that we can work with. This is a stunning instrument and it's part of a wonderful family of scales. So I suggest that you start to understand Hijazes if you can.